Okay, welcome everybody. Good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are. Here in Italy, it's 1 o'clock in midday, let's say. So, thank you for joining our webinar. This is the third of the webinars that we are organizing, and today it's dedicated to a little chat, let's say, with one of our core faculty members, Professor Guido Bortoluzzi, who will now briefly introduce himself, and then I will be asking some questions, but of course, please feel free to interrupt us and to add any comment or ask any question at any time. So, Guido, the floor to you. Please briefly introduce yourself, and then we can start with the questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vicky, and welcome to all the people that are connected, that are listening to us, the ones that are live or the ones that will watch this video later. It's a pleasure to be here. As you already know, my name is Guido Bortoluzzi, and I'm core faculty member in MIB Trieste School of Management, where I teach marketing research methods. I teach also in corporate education and other various programs by MIB Trieste School of Management. I'm also a university professor, and actually I'm full professor of innovation management and business modeling at the University of Trieste. And now I'm ready for the questions. Be kind, please.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. These are some questions that we prepared in advance, but of course, if the audience has other questions, they will be, of course, also asking. So be prepared.
Sure.
So our first question, Guido, for you. What are the current trends in the marketing industry that you believe are most relevant for MBA students today?
Okay, that's not a simple question, but I will try to answer, let's say, just in a few minutes, even less. Marketing has been, let's see, of course, it is a key discipline in management, but for many years, I would say for many decades, since its conception, let's say, and formalization around the 60s, it has been conceived more as a philosophy than as a scientific discipline. What do I mean with scientific discipline? With scientific discipline, I mean a discipline where you apply specific methodologies and methods to collect data and information that allow you to take decisions that are based on clear empirical evidence. So what I see is that marketing, finally, it is becoming more and more science-based. Not because it is becoming, let's say, more academic. That's not the case. The fact is that marketing today is more precise because it is more based on methodologies and methods that have scientific characteristics. That means that they are methodologies and methods that can be replicated, of course, in several companies and in several industries. This is important because this is also the why I proposed a couple of years ago to MIB Trieste School of Management to start this course on marketing methods. Because what I think is that today, modern managers like you guys, you must keep together, let's say, the ability to take decisions that is typical of a manager, but these decisions must be grounded, must be supported. And that's why you need to think in a scientific way.
Thank you, Guido. Very interesting. In fact, to the audience, I may add that every year when we conclude our academic year, of course, we review our curriculum and adapt, integrate, or change some courses. In fact, as Guido was saying before, we added a course in marketing research, who was not available a couple of years ago. So it is true, and we are in this direction, as you were saying, in order to provide MBA participants with this important concept. A second question for you. How do you integrate theoretical concepts with practical cases within the MBA program?
Well, there has been an evolution now. I'm no longer, let's say, a young professor. I was several years ago. Now I started being quite an experienced professor. So at the beginning of my career, I tended to use cases, and especially to take these cases from Harvard or other, let's say, business schools. You know, over time, I accumulated practical experience. I'm also a strategic consultant. So now I can go to class and add, as an, I hope, an added value for students, many examples that comes from real situation, real firm. In the majority of the cases, I cannot use the name of the company. Of course, I can explain the type of firm, the context, and I cannot reveal, of course, the name. That's covered by confidentiality, of course, and that's an important issue. But for sure, you know, my lessons are, you know, full of examples coming from the real world. There is also another, let's say, experience that it's worth to mention, but the ones with La San Marco, but maybe we discuss it later. What do you think, Vicky?
Yes, I agree. I agree. I have to say that it is true that these real examples or coming from practical experience or from maybe some managers of some companies that may come to do a little session in your course are always very interesting because they are a concrete example of the theory that you may present in advance, and of course it's an added value, no? Because we usually at MIPU we have this kind of approach, so it's not the only course where some companies or practical examples are seen during the courses, but we believe that this is a very important way in order to make the course more interesting, of course, and really more clear the concepts by an example, a real example.
And do you confirm I'm becoming also more and more senior?
Well, you see, if you're becoming more senior, that means that I'm also becoming more senior as well. So maybe we can leave this point beside.
Okay, let's go to the next.
For sure, we are becoming more seniors, but that's everyone. So
yeah, but we improve.
We improve. For sure, we improve. So our third question. What key skills do you believe students should acquire during their marketing studies in an MBA program?
That's also an important question, and I would like to give, let's say, an important answer. To me, the most important skill that MBA students should develop in their, let's say, during, let's say, their studying is the ability to face complex situations. Complex situations can happen, let's say, in every position, in every department, in every function. A complex situation could be the one of the HR manager that has, let's say, to state to someone that this person is not performing well. A complex situation can be entering a new market and take a decision about the mode of entry. And so on and so forth. There are many, let's say, complex situations in which people have to take decisions in situations that are uncertain by definition, where the information is not complete. And how to deal with complex, let's say, problems. Normally, you have to simplify complex problems in order to take, let's say, decisions. And to simplify complex problems, you need to use models, frameworks, ways of thinking, shortcuts, and so on and so forth that, let's say, you develop during your MBA program. So the MBA program is not, let's say, the answer to all the problems you will face. It's about developing a method for facing the problems that you will have to face, because the problems, they will be all different, but the methodology for dealing with them, for facing them, I think it is the same, mostly the same.
Very, very true. Very true, Guido. In the meantime, there are a couple of questions from the audience, so I will interrupt with our questions to add the ones of Amal.
If they are written questions, it would be better. Yes.
Yes, they are.
So
They are.
Amal,
We can also read them. We will read them out loud so that also maybe everybody can listen, maybe the ones that are not looking at the chat. Amal says, hi all, Guido, I'd like to ask you if MBA contains any training on specific business models and how to develop a business and financial plan.
no, I teach business modeling at the university, not at the MBA, but lucky for you, there is a course that is actually exactly about that. And it is taught by an experienced professor, that is an adjunct professor that has also experience in real life because he is also a venture capitalist. So the best person, you know, the person that sees at least 1,000 business models, let's say per year, so probably is the best person to do that. So of course it is a topic, not one of the topics that I cover. The second,
we will learn how to identify concerns, risks, and principal adverse indicators in both operations and supply chain related to ESG.
Yes, I would say not only related to the, let's say, the operation and supply chain. We have, of course, a course that is specific on operation and supply chain, and all the courses actually are today touched by the issue of the ESG. Of course, that's quite normal. The same for digitalization. These are two transversal topics that are affecting all, let's say, courses. Again, not in my course, but in the program, I would say yes. And in any case, of course, you are in an MBA program, you have always the possibility to discuss about topics of your interest with the lecturer and say, dear lecturer, I'm interested in this topic. What can you suggest? I could read, let's say, to deepen, or can we discuss also in class? Of course, it is always a pleasure when students are also proactive and ask, let's say, for specific, let's say, topics to professors. At least it is something that I love personally.
Yes, we may underline this concept, right? Because we really expect from our participants to really actively ask questions and intervene in all the lecturers in a very active way. So for sure, you can ask, as Guido was saying, if there is an information that you are particularly interested in and it's not covered by any topic, which we have many of these topics in the course, of course, but you can always ask for further information or for a guidance or what to read, etc., from our lecturers at any time. Okay, so for the moment, there are no other questions from the audience. We can pass to the next question that we prepared. What role do emerging technologies, such as artificial intelligence and data analytics, play in the modern marketing landscape, and how are they incorporated into MBA marketing courses?
Yes, I would say they are, of course, fantastic tools to understand and to use. But they are also specific and they require also specific skills. And that's why in the last years, we enlarged, let's say, the faculty and the courses offered by MIB Trieste School of Management in order to include more and more topics related to AI, not only at the theoretical level, but also at the very, let's say, practical level. So I would say that we talk about methods that embed big data, let's say, analysis, data lakes, and whatever, also in my course, but we don't apply. However, there are other courses where you learn more in vertical about such, let's say, technologies and related methodologies, and you learn also to apply them. So I would say that you will be quite satisfied about that.
Yes. We have, as Guido was saying, added to the curriculum in the last years many courses about these topics. In fact, we have course in data analytics, a course in machine learning for business analytics, a course in big data management, and of course AI is also covered in many other courses like organization, for example, or many others. So yes, you will have the chance to learn a lot of these technologies that today you cannot, let's say, not have no knowledge. You have to know about it. So some of these subjects are very technical, but anyway, we try to introduce you to these methodologies. So this is the idea. How does the MBA program help students develop a strategic vision of marketing and understand the interplay between marketing and other business sectors?
I think that interplay is the key word in your question, Vicky, because you know, there are MBA programs that are very vertical, very specific, and there are other MBA programs that are more, let's say, transversal. I like more these second programs because in these second programs, you have the possibility actually to deal with different topics spanning from HR management, finance, supply chain management, operation, marketing, strategy, and so on and so forth. And that gives you, let's say, a taste of what business management means, actually. And then to connect the various topics and the various dots. Something that you can do, for example, in the final thesis by developing, let's say, an original idea that comes also from a personal interest of you, from a personal experience of yours, let's say. So I would say that the MBA is really the best place actually for developing this overarching, let's say, knowledge about business management.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely true. In fact, the final thesis usually is the last project that you complete during your MBA, a very important one, and of course it's worth a big number of credits, one of the most credits in the program. And the idea is to put together all the knowledge that you have been acquiring during the year. You, of course, can select the topic. It has to be approved by our dean, but it is, as Guido was saying, a way of putting all this information in something that may be also useful for you and for the school. Both things are important, of course, because we have to comply in a way also with our accreditation bodies. You know that our MBA is accredited by AMBA, and Association of MBAs, in an international level, and by us for the national level. We always repeat this because not every MBA has these accreditations, but our, yes, it has, and they are very important.
I agree. The accreditation is not just a medal. It's actually the insurance that activities are organized in a certain way at the highest, respecting, let's say, the highest, let's say, quality standards.
Exactly. Our next question. What networking and experiential learning opportunities are available to MBA program students to deepen their understanding of marketing and establish contacts in the industry?
Well, first of all, we have, of course, an entire office that is dedicated to the relationship with companies. And so that's, let's say, a strength of Trieste School of Management. But we have also, I'm also responsible, I'm also in charge, let's say, of an interesting activity that we do with real companies. They launch challenges to MBA students, and we work together a couple of weeks. We collect data and information in order to solve the challenge, to provide an answer, of course, to a real problem of a firm. This year, for example, we worked on a challenge that was launched by the company La San Marco, that is one of the historical producer of coffee machines. It is part of the SET group, that is a French group, owner of different famous brands at the international level, like Moulinex and let's say and many others. And actually, in this year, we worked also together with some students coming from Florida, from, let's say, another institution that is partner of Mid Trieste School of Management. We have this interesting exchange, and we work together in order to provide help to the company in entering the American market, because the American market is not homogeneous, is really different. One thing is the East Coast, another different thing is the West Coast, and still different is the, let's say, the central markets that have peculiarities, characteristics that are very, very different. So together with our American friends, we worked in order to understand what is the let's say the best area for entering the American market, what are the, let's say, the best, let's say, business partners, distribution partners. We collected information and data through interviews, both live and online. And at the end, we created, let's say, a consulting report that the company appreciated a lot, and it was presented, let's say, in front of the company during, let's say, the final day. And it was, I would say, quite a success. So this year, it was the case of La San Marco, but in the past, we did the same in the food industry with Bofrost. We did the same in the IT industry. We did the same again in the coffee industry with Illy Cafe. You know, Trieste is the city of coffee, so we have among the most important producers, not only in Italy but in the world. And this is, I think, an example of the type of activity and the type of relationship that we look for. Companies that are partners of our MBA programs.
Yeah, thank you, Guido, for talking about this example, because in fact, we always, every year, we repeat this activity, the consulting project, with a couple of 5 or 4 students coming from our partner school in Florida, US. And it's a very interesting opportunity. You can apply to participate to this opportunity. So it's something, let's say, extra that you will do, but of course, something very interesting, knowing a company, working with the American colleagues and presenting this consulting project in the end, which is usually very much appreciated, not only by the company, but also by the students. Because it's really a very interesting activity and a way of putting, let's say, all the knowledge again through one example, but a real example. And many companies then also applied some of the, let's say, tips or advices that our students gave during the consulting project. So I think it's really very interesting. I have a last question from myself, and then we have also a couple of questions from the audience. So the last question that I would like to ask you, Guido, is what advice would you give to MBA students who aspire to pursue careers in marketing research based on your experience in the field?
Well, it depends, because if they love research, marketing research, sooner or later you should consider also a PhD, of course. But in any case, if you want to become a manager doing marketing research, there are very good books that you could, let's say, that you could buy and use in, let's say, in everyday research. If actually your passion for research is, let's say, it goes along with your passion for being a manager, in this case, I would advise as soon as you finish your MBA program, start working, enter a company, even from sometimes the back door, and then try, let's say, to grow, let's say, inside and to get to the position you want. I have plenty of examples of former students of mine that now are, let's say, start to be also experienced managers, and finally they got to the position they always aimed at, they always wanted. Some patience is sometimes needed. Sometimes it is necessary to enter in a position maybe it's not the one you were looking for of your dreams, but then when you are inside, it's easier to scale up, or it is, say, easier, let's say, to change position to get to the position of your dreams, let's say.
Yes, we believe that the MBA is really useful in order to allow our participants to, let's say, grow more rapidly in a company, for sure. So the result, it's not immediate. No, you have to be patient, as Guido was saying, but in the end, it will allow you to get where you want, maybe in a very fast way. Without the MBA, maybe this will not be possible. So this is what
Yes,
you
but also a lot depends also on you, on your eagerness, let's say, to get to the results you aspire to. Okay, it's not automatic. So
no,
a lot of
motivation
work is done
and
by
work
on
is
your side. Okay.
fundamental. Motivation and work is always fundamental.
Yeah,
Don't
sure,
arrive there without making any
sure,
movement, for sure.
sure, sure.
Couple of questions now from the audience again. From Pedro, he asks, are professors easily approachable? What do you think, Guido?
In MIB,
Yes.
I would say any time, you know, starting from 8:50 at the bar where they have the first coffee of the day, then during the coffee break. So there are a lot of coffees in Italy, you know, the coffee breaks. During the coffee break at 11, then during lunch, we have lunch in the same place, in the same canteen. It is actually an excellent canteen, to be honest, because it's we have a Sicilian cuisine. It's a really fantastic. And then, of course, also after the lesson. So I would say that yes, we are always, let's say, in the same space, in the same area, and they can be easily approached.
Yes, we usually we say always with Barbara doing the interviews. We are a small school, so in a way it's very easy for the students to talk to every one of us, staff, professors, at any moment, as Guido was saying. So, or during a coffee break, or because you fix an appointment in the office, or during the classroom after the lesson. So yes, of course, there is a lot of possibility to meet the faculty and staff, and we are flexible.
And I will give you a practical example. During and after my course, I was approached by 3 students actually that have their own projects. So startup project or consulting project, or actually they have just a project in mind. And we met and we discussed together. So that's really, I would say, easy.
Thank you, Guido. And then another last question that we have from the audience: how are exams organized?
Well, that depends on the subject, I would say. Depends on the subject. So there are some professors that prefer written exams, especially if the subject is more quantitative and it requires also the application of logical skills, for example. And there are other professors, for example, that prefer other types of exam. In my case, marketing research method, what I ask to students is first to, let's say, in the, would say, theoretical part, but I do that only for the benefit of students. I ask them to describe in a couple of pages, let's say, a marketing methods that they will, let's say, use in the second part of the task in order to force them to study a little bit also the method. And then in the second part of the task, I ask them to apply this method to solve, let's say, a marketing problem. So actually, I'm not asking to collect data and information and to carry out a proper, let's say, marketing study or marketing research, but I ask them to define the marketing question, and then to define the methodology and the method that they would use in order to answer to that marketing question. The funny thing is that at least a couple of students proposed real problems that they were facing in the companies they are working in. And that this is something that I particularly appreciated, because when you are, when you see students that are able to combine, let's say, theoretical aspects with, let's say, also practical needs, that's the bingo moment, right? When you say, okay, That's precisely what we wanted, let's say, to happen, and it happened. Of course, there are other students that have less, let's say, experience, working experience, but it is important that they try, let's say, to put themselves in the shoes of a person, of a manager that is working and that has to solve, let's say, very, very practical, let's say, problems.
Yes. Thank you, Guido. Just to underline what Guido was saying, and coming back to Pedro's question, not every course has the same approach. So you will find during the MBA some courses that will have a final test, some courses that will have an assignment, maybe also a combination of different elements, a group assignment and an individual assignment, a test and a group assignment. So it depends on the course. Of course, you have to pass the evaluation in order to gain the course credits. You know that each course is worth a number of credits. 1 credit is equal to 25 hours of workload. And in total, you have to complete 60 credits in order to gain your MBA degree. So, okay, we have now another question from Amal. Did you recommend to a postdoc researcher in the field of climate change and decarbonization to do an MBA while trying to shift to industry?
Oh, Amal, that's really personal. I've always some fear, I must confess, in suggesting students what to do. Not because I don't want the responsibility, but because actually I fear to, let's say, to affect, let's say, of course, negatively the life of other people. And this is something that I would like to avoid. Of course, education is always good, but when it is the right moment to take it is something that you have to decide. If you have past experience in the industry, it is, of course, a better option. So here, of course, I'm saying something that is against, let's say, what could have been, let's say, a marketing claim by maybe Trieste School of Management, but you have to consider yourself as a sponge. You absorb more water if you have some experience in the real world and in the industry. So if you have no experience at all, let's say, in private industry, but only in education, only university, I would say consider carefully maybe to wait a couple of years to accumulate some experience, because then you will benefit more from an MBA program. And I'm saying that in your interest, not in the interest of maybe Trieste School of Management. Otherwise, my answer would have been, yes, come here, no worries about that. No, it is important that you come to Trieste in order to absorb the maximum of the knowledge that we can provide you with. And in order to do that, you need the right preconditions. So some experience in the industry is beneficial, very beneficial. I hope you will appreciate the honesty of the answer.
Sure. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see if one more second, if there is any other question. We are almost reaching our time.
You know, Vicky, when I manage meetings online, I do like that. If you have other questions in 5 seconds,
5 seconds for the last
4,
question.
3, 2,
1.
To book yourself, no, 0. So
thank you, Guido, for being with us for this half an hour.
My pleasure.
It was a pleasure. I'm sure that you shared very important tips with our audience, and also very important advices. Hopefully, our audience has appreciated this effort from our side to give you more information and to help you decide if you are still deciding to participate or not to our MBA program. Many of you are already our next students, so we hope you found this interesting. We will meet again in another webinar in July. This time we will meet the MBA director. So let's keep in touch. We will send you the information by mail. Thank you for participating, and see you soon. Thank you again, Guido. Thank you to all of you for participating.
Goodbye, and
Bye.
looking forward to meeting you in Trieste. Bye.
The same for me. Bye-bye. Thank you.